eyeshadow enthusiasts. Today we're going to do a couple of looks. Well, I'm going to break this up into several days so we can do a couple of looks with the brand new Spring Magic palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. I did pick up the blush palette also. It did come with more than just these two things. It also did come with highlighters. So here's what I thought I would do. I'm totally feeling spring. I have already swatched this palette out, but I haven't swatched the blush palette out. Here it is, you guys, in its full glory. I want to talk a little bit about the palette. I want to talk a little bit about the other items that came with this collection. Show you guys a close-up of the color story. Show you my close-up of my kind of terrible swatches. We will swatch out the blush palette together. We'll create one look, and then I'm probably going to do another filming a different day of a different look, at least one more look, because I'm looking at this palette and immediately I can see 4 looks total. Let's get into it. I'm going to start off with the close-ups of the eyeshadow palette and the swatches. So the eyeshadow palette by itself retails for $78. The whole bundle retails for $138, which includes the blush palette and then 2 of the incandescent liquid highlighters that retail for $14, and then the Gold Glaze Pollen lip gloss, or in the shade Pollen, it's a lip gloss retailing for $14. So I skipped out obviously on the lip gloss and the highlighters, but I picked up the blush palette too because it looked absolutely stunning. So let's talk a little bit about the eyeshadow palette. It's still available for pre-order. It says the first pre-order is estimated to ship 4/18 to 4/26, which is just past us. The second pre-order estimated ship date is mid to end of May. It says the spectrum of hues reminiscent of blossoming flowers, fresh foliage, and the gentle embrace of springtime sunsets. This palette is your ticket to a world of endless creativity and captivating looks. It has 18 mesmerizing shades. Ooh, I thought that Unearthly would like list out how many are shimmers and how many are mattes, but they do not, so let me count them. Oh, okay, it's an even ratio. There's 9 shimmers to 9 mattes. I actually really enjoy that. So for me, I see this in rows. I see a blue row and then kind of a neutral brown row and then like maybe a pink row, but also I see greens in here too. So I can see immediately 4 different looks that I would create with this. I see a blue look, a green look, a brown neutral look, and kind of a peachish look. These tones look like pink in person, but on camera they kind of look peach. So today I want to do a blue look for sure, and I at least want to get one more look out of this palette before I post this video. I'm definitely feeling springtime vibes, so I want to go for something blue because I threw on my blue shirt. I also want to make mention that there were some people that were, I think, upset in the Instagram comments about how much this palette was retailing for, because so far as I can tell, it's more money than Unearthly Cosmetics palettes normally retail for. They're usually probably in like the $60 range, where this one's like nearly 80 bucks. Here is the outer box. I just wanted to show you guys this. I have like pulled it out already. But let's get into this blush palette. I mean, everything is such sturdy packaging. Like, this is hefty stuff. Here is the blush palette. I could not pass up getting this. The reason is I picked up their blush and highlighter duo that they had from the Devour collection for Halloween, and I loved it. I loved that blush formula. It was so good. That is the only like collection blush that I've ever held onto. Probably the only other one that I've picked up was like the Chucky collection with Glam Light. Anyway, I want to swatch this out with you guys so you can see I've already swatched it, and I have a short up on my Instagram channel, which I'm trying to post there more. It's just, you know, I'm not good, so I'm like fumbling along at this particular juncture, and hopefully I get better. But anyway, let's swatch this guy. So this is Alchemy. These are shimmery. I mean, these basically could be like eyeshadows. They're so sheeny. I honestly could see myself getting use out of every one of these shades. I'm going like left to right, top to bottom essentially. This one is in the shade Crystal. These are so like creamy and delicious feeling. This one is Balefire. Ballfire? I think it's Balefire. Oh, so stunning. The thing is, I think with her blushes, I always think they're gonna come out way more pigmented than they do, but like once you pick them up on a fluffy brush, they look so beautiful in the skin, and they're so much less intimidating. That's why I felt totally fine getting a palette like this with all these different shades. I didn't tell you which that one was. That one is Pendulum. You guys see how shimmery these are? I'll do a close-up in a second. Incantation is the last one. It's like a neon, like peach color. These are so buttery smooth. Just look how rich and opaque they are. Oh, and they pick up so well on a fluffy brush. I cannot wait to get these to my cheeks. And this formula feels like it would genuinely last forever. Some of these are more satin and then some of them are more sparkly. I want to say these two look more sparkly, which is Alchemy and Crystal. This is like a more satin shade in Bellfire. The next one looks sparkly, this one looks satiny, and the last one looks satiny. So they're a little bit of a different texture here. You guys, I threw up my hair like 5 seconds before I came upstairs to start filming, so please do not mind the hair. We're not trying to look glamorous. I really just want to review this guy. So let's get into the blues. I think depending upon the way that I go, I could create like a more teal look, you know? Like if I end up using this shade, it'll come out more teal. But if I stay away from those and use these two as like primary shades, this one for a transition and then this one in the outer corner, and then would I use this one? This is almost purple looking. I think we need to swatch those two shades because I don't remember. Why does it look like my mirror is starting to like peel off? So this one is called Rainfall and I feel like it almost looks purple. What are you doing here? Stop that. Yeah, see how purple that almost looks? Is that the shade? I think it's just not what I would use with this. I think like if I had a blue, like that would change the look entirely. Let's swatch this, what is this? Cloud. It's a translucent. Okay, so this is the one that I would for sure use. It has a blue shift to it. It's a translucent duochrome. Let the camera adjust itself. So it's a slight blue shift, which will look really good. And maybe I'll put the white down so that it comes out more intense. So instead of me speeding through this process, you guys, I'll just sit here with you. I will just talk and apply. I am just using my Clarity Cosmetics brushes. I've been enjoying these. I've been reaching for them. The I don't know, this is from a set, maybe K946 is the name of this. And they're pretty too. I just kind of like the way the tips look. That's like a fade into black is essentially what the tips are. Okay, I'm gonna start with the shade Breezy. Let me hold it up. Wow, packaging does not want to be bent backwards. Oh shit. This mirror is like fully popping out. Like this is starting to come unglued already. Okay, don't bend it. Fine, I won't. All right, I'm gonna start with this shade All Over and I'm going straight for this shade right here. I don't know what it was showing, my legs maybe. I'm gonna go for this shade right here, just in the outer corner, and I'm gonna make it as simple as that. And then I'm going to use the white as like a base on my lid before I go in with that translucent white shade. So I'm going actually in with just unset eyes. I hope the lighting in here is good, you guys. I've been filming like later in the day and the lighting is like definitely different. I almost kind of like it more. All right, going into Breezy, I want this as a transition, essentially. I think that this is gonna wind up being nothing fancy with this. I am just sweeping it all over because I want that deep shade to be the primary color. I'm going for my standard eye look anyway. I might try to do something different with some of the other looks. When I'm testing a palette, I always like to go with this look and I get experimental off camera. That's good, that's good. All right, I'm taking a flatter brush that looks like this to start packing in the outer corner. That's what I like to do. It says K710. Blues, I think blues scare me. All right, I'm going wild with it. Like no abandon. This is how I've been doing my eye look. Just slapping it all over and praying that these shades are blendable essentially. Because I want them to fade into the other color. Yes, I'm getting good blendability out of this. I like to deepen up like down here, but like just kind of smoke it upwards. Because I didn't put my foundation on first, I'm gonna just go crazy. This is not as deep as I was hoping it would be, honestly. It doesn't go much deeper than this. It looks deeper in the pan, but I don't think it's going deeper. Always have to do some weird thing. Like, I can't just say a word. Can't ever just be a word with me. Nope. Okay, it's blending beautifully. I am not getting any issues whatsoever, like getting it to pack or blend. I have only I have 2 Unearthly Cosmetics palettes in my collection that I've tested. I want to say it's like the Sleepover and then the Devour palette. This is the only other one that I've hauled at this point. I'm not immensely familiar with the formula, and I want to say the Sleepover palette, it was just so much older. Like I keep staring in the monitor, but I feel like it was just kind of a different formulation, like than the Devour palette. So I don't know if that's like a good litmus test, you know? This one doesn't build. If you can see, it stays pretty one tone, which is fine, but it doesn't get any darker than that. So I could have even just like left that light blue out. I don't even think I needed to bring it inwards because I could have just like drug this in, because this dissipates instead of like kind of packs. Actually, I might use that healer shade like on the bottom. Okay, here I go. I am going to, I think, put white all over so I can throw that translucent shade down. And I like to go pretty high up, so I never worry about like this spot right here because such little lid space. I like to take it all the way to the top there, and so it never matters if I kind of like leave this spot blank. Essentially, that's how I think it looks best with my hooded eyes. I just want it to have a little bit of a base here, like stronger than just my skin, and see if that helps. It might not make a huge difference. So far, everything plays really nicely with each other. Please hold. I always feel like I don't do them evenly. Sometimes I bring one in higher than the other. So I gotta just like take a step back and go, here, is you even? All right, I'm not messing around with glitter glue. It's late in the day anyway. We're just testing this palette. So I'm gonna take a setting spray and just spray a flat brush so I can go into this shimmer. I want to see if it's impactful. No, not really. That could be so much better. I don't love this to death. Okay, maybe if you build it. I'm building it now and it looks better, but it's not super intense. A little underwhelming. That's it. That's it. It's good. It's good. It's nice that you have a light blue shimmer. Like, I can't discount that, because you have these blue shades in here, and so a shimmer shade that wasn't purple is really like I think what you need for this palette, so that all makes perfect sense to me. I don't know, I wish it was like not a translucent kind of white shade that shifted blue, because it's just not quite as intense as I would like. So I go up about, I don't know, like the majority of the way here to just like create myself an arch. So it's pretty high up so you can actually see it when my eyes are open. I feel like you really have to build this shade up for it to be blue or to show, because it just doesn't have a really strong base. I almost pulled my earring. Not a really strong base. Yikesy, yikesy. It's pretty. Just from here, maybe I'm just underwhelmed, you know? Like every time I look in the monitor, I'm like, no, that's pretty punchy. And like from this distance, it just doesn't look that punchy. All right, that's it. Okay, time to clean it up. I always take my little wet wipe and I want to carve out the edges. I like to go like low first so I don't take too much off, because I've done that before and that looks terrible. And then I do the same thing on the other side. This is just what I like to do when I'm doing a look like this, because I get sloppy, I guess, and I want to be able to like do my foundation after in case I make any mistakes and have to go back in. And my eyes are just naturally uneven. This one droops, which I'm sure has to do with my dog bite, my scar, and all of that. So it doesn't like go up quite as much as the other side. Anyway, I have mentioned that on my channel at this point like so many times. I didn't notice it till I started doing eyeshadow all of the time. I don't think this is gonna deepen for me, so I'm just gonna like lightly blend these two shades together. They already blended pretty well, like on top of each other. I feel like this side is just not quite as dark as the other. Like I was able to build that side up just a little bit more. So let me see if I can't just pow 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 it. Pow pow pow. Peel peel peel. Okay. I think that's pretty even. I want to do just a teeny bit more blending, like right here on both sides. It might not be doing anything, but it makes me feel better. Okay. I think that looks good. Now I need to go do my base makeup. Minus the blush, so we can try that on, and then we also need to complete the eye look, so be right back. Okay, I threw on some lashes as well. I want a tight line really fast. I have such sensitive eyes. I hate tight lining. All right, we can finish the eye look. So I'm actually gonna throw a lighter shade in the waterline. I think that'll look pretty. This is the Moira Statement Gel Liner in the shade, where is the shade? Hello, Mint. These basically come in the shades of the rainbow, and they're so dang affordable. And also, they stay all day. They do not leave the waterline, and they go into the waterline perfectly. I literally would buy every shade from this line. I kind of feel like I don't need to venture out and get crazy when it comes to liners. I always feel like the more affordable, the better. I don't feel like a collector when it comes to eyeliners at all. I genuinely just want the good ones. Okay, let's finish the lower lash line. I think I'm gonna get something like pretty darn tight, and I'm gonna use that healer shade, that what is this? Teal. What am I trying to say? That's the word. I almost feel like I could have used like this shade with the blue and this would have looked really pretty, but it might even be something that I would like to do with the green look. This one I think you probably could use with the blue too, instead of that one that looks a little bit purple. But I would rather use like this shade with the green. And I would definitely like to use, I just wiped the swatch away, that Sprout shade with the green look, because it has more base to it, where the one above it is more translucent. Now I'm just getting sparkles all over myself, which I didn't want to do. I'm gonna get a pretty tight brush. Hopefully I have one here. I don't really, but I'll take the next best thing. It's a Lunar Beauty LBE6 to take this teal. I'm just gonna get it on the point and bring it halfway. I'm not gonna bring it the whole way. I really just want it light, and it looks essentially like the other color. All right, now I'm just gonna spread it all the way across very, very lightly. Yeah, it looks like just like the deeper blue once you blend it in. I mean, in that small of a space. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I like to go super tight against my lash line if I'm gonna do any type of lower line shadow, and I only bring it in halfway, and then I essentially wipe off my brush. I don't want any more product on there when I drag it in. I don't have like a huge, I don't know. I have such small eyes. I feel like that if I do lower lash line too far down, it starts to make them look droopy. I'm gonna throw the only mascara that I use for my lower lash line. My lower lashes, I always say lower lash line, is the e.l.f. Lash Extender Mascara. I'm sure there are others that would work for me. It's just that this type of wand I really enjoy for the lower lashes. Plus it's not intense. I do not like an intense lower lash mascara. Again, I try not to swallow my eyes too much because I feel like, you know, they're already so darn small. And that's it. But let me zoom you guys in so you can see the eye look. I mean, it's pretty. Everything about it performed really well. I don't hate the way that the white translucent shade looks back in the camera. It wasn't as intense as I was hoping it was gonna be, but I actually think it looks pretty good. All right, let's go into this blush palette. I have no idea what shade would look best. Definitely not an orange. I think I'm gonna try for this super bright pink shade and hope for the best here. It's in Familiar. And I'm gonna take it on a pretty fluffy brush that usually diffuses this out quite a bit. Like I'm telling you guys, these don't look as intense once they get to the cheeks when you use a really fluffy brush. So I always feel okay buying these palettes. I feel like they're not what you think they're going to be. Like look how pretty and simple and like airbrush that looks without it being super intense. I'm sure you can build this up, but with a pretty fluffy brush, it's not bad. And that's it. I think that looks really good together, honestly. Oh, I just hit the mirror. I would love to see what these two shades would pull. This one is like a bright, bright pink, and this one's a deep, deep purple. But I would love to see what those look like on fair skin. Anyway, you guys, this is look number 1 with the palette. That's pretty much it for today. I'm gonna meet you guys back here tomorrow. I do have some appointments tomorrow. I wanna do at least 2 looks with this palette, but I think I'll go with like the green / neutral. I don't know, maybe we'll try for 3 looks with this palette, but I am done for now and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Bye. Hi guys, good morning. Today is a brand new day, so let's do a new look. I am going to a school this morning, my son's new school, to register him. Oh, shorts. Crooked. So I think we'll do a neutral look with the palette today, and I'm not going to do any like lashes or lower line work at all, because I think that in the palette, because it has so many kind of neutral tones in here, is really meant to be used for a neutral look in addition to some of the pops of color. I still want to play with the greens at some point, but what I was thinking today was we would use these 2 browns, like a transition and then outer corners. I think that would be really pretty. Also, this kind of brown is like almost a mauve shade, like a light mauve. It's like a taupe, but it has a pinkish undertone to it. And so I think that these 2 shades can be paired with a lot of these shimmers. And so there's 2 options here that I was considering, which is this more brown one that is so good for a really kind of one and done neutral look, but then also this pink one right here is absolutely stunning. I'm pretty sure that that one is one of the duochromes. And by the way, I did look this up and I think there are 4 multi-chromes. Sorry, there are 2 multi-chromes in this palette. So the first one is that white shade, and then the second one is this one. So it's like the first, I count them from left to right, but it's the first one at the top, which is the white one that we used yesterday, and then the very last one that is in this palette. And so I'm thinking, instead of doing like this brownie shade that's all beautiful and delicious, and not this one as well, that we use the multi-chrome because it kind of shifts brown with purple, and I just thought that that would be like a nice way to incorporate that shade, and then maybe we could do one more look. I think that there's like 3 different pink shimmers in here, so you really could do a pink look like overall, but I think we'll try like a green look next, maybe. I mean, I want to do at least 3 looks with this palette, but I think that the quality is here, like it seems very consistent. So I'm going to go into that cleanse shade and sweep it all over. That's the one that has like that pinkish base to it. Yeah, like super easy, quick look. Just throwing this all over. Don't think about it. Lovely. We're in spring. Totally a palette I could reach for a spring look on the go. I'm just gonna grab, this is an angled crease brush from EcoTools, but something super big and fluffy, and just throwing this in the outer corner. Like, no thoughts. I'm not having thoughts right now. I'm just slapping this on. The idea here is that you can get a quick look for work with this too, which if you do work like in the office, you know, like for me, that's always like super important. Can I also use this palette as a neutral palette for my everyday wear? And then can I use it to spice things up? I find that is so important. You guys tell me if that's of importance to you. Do you ever purchase your palettes with the intent that you can also use it for the office or like wherever you go? You know, I'm just going to clean up the edges just a little bit with my finger. Honestly, quick look. Trying not to overcomplicate it. But I do want to use the multi-chrome though. I want to spice it up just a little bit. With my nails, I can only pack it on like in the middle. And I have to go in with a brush to bring it to the inner corner. Ideally, I would just use my finger for the whole application and just move on. But I can't do that. I'm not gonna spray my brush. I don't even think you need to. With like multi-chromes, they're so thin. They just stick right to the brush. So I'll slap that on. I'm gonna go back into that brown shade and just, I don't know, kind of blend them together. I'm not deepening too much. I really just want a simple, neutral, everyday look. I think we'll take it with the greens on the next look for sure, because there's some really nice green shimmers in here. I mean, that is so simple, but like that is kind of what spring means to me, you know, especially when I'm going to do things for my kids especially. So I need to go finish up my makeup. We'll come back, we'll do a final assessment essentially, but this is all I'm gonna do today. Pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty everyday. Nobody's gonna stare at me funny. I'll be right back. Okay, see? The eye look actually is pretty neutral, but pop of color with that multi-chrome. Like, I'm not hating this. This is a lovely, like, everyday spring look, essentially. Let's go into the blush palette. I've done all of my makeup but the blush, and I think today is, like, the perfect time to go into that plum shade. I was eyeing it yesterday when I was sitting down with you guys and told you I think that would be super beautiful on the cheeks, and I feel like it's either this one or the crystal shade. The crystal shade is a little bit more pink, where I think this would look really good with today's eye look. So let's do it. Let's go into this pendulum shade is what it's called. And I told you, if you get a really fluffy brush, you guys, these are not as intense like right away, but you can like build them up. Oh, this one is pretty intense. The window right here might be like casting a little bit of light. I just opened the blinds, which I don't like to do. I've been noticing it like washes out this side of my face. I started to do something else and then realized, oh my gosh, I didn't put on any blush. So anyway, I want to get the intensity level even, but you keep building, this will go more intense. I honestly, like, I really like this blush palette. I like the quality of the eyeshadows in the Unearthly palette, but I mean, we'll reserve thoughts until the end. Yeah, I think I'll throw on a highlighter. I'm gonna throw my Cosmetics, what are these called? Sunscape Highlighter in Clarity, and a little pop to the cheeks. Did I use crystal yesterday? Now that I'm like thinking about it, I probably did, but I want to do Incantation next. Like for sure, I don't care what we end up going with. I want to do like a green look, but I want to use this shade. It is honestly so pretty. The blush palette, like super unique. I think I'm gonna find like a lot of enjoyment in this blush palette where I don't typically love blush palettes. It's just that this range here is really crazy and it's such a buildable formula. So anyway, you guys, that is today's full neutral look with the Spring Magic palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. I'm sure I will see you guys back here tomorrow and we can do like a nice amped up green look with this palette because I'm excited to try some of those green shimmers. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Welcome to day 3, you guys. We're going to do a green look today. So I threw on my green shirt. My son is homesick today. He just woke up actually pretty recently after falling back asleep when I woke him this morning. I think he might be milking it just a little bit, but he definitely has a pretty bad cough that just developed, so you might hear him in the background. So I was thinking about the green look, and I think that this shade right here is just too pink. It has too much of a pinkish base to it, so I don't think it would look great. So actually, I want to take this Herbalist shade right here, just like all over and buff it inwards, and so I'm not going to use really any transition shade. And the 2 shades that are green in this palette, both would be stunning with this look, but I really want to grab for this one right here. I don't think either of these are a multi-chrome or a duochrome. I just think that this one right here has a nicer base to it. So I think that's all that we're gonna do out of this palette for the final look. So I'm really just gonna take that green shade and sweep it in the outer corner and then buff it inward. All of these shades so far seem super light. They're a little bit more desaturated. They're not intensely pigmented like that blue one, for example. On the first day when I did the blue look, it did not build up crazy intensity. I don't think this green one is going to either. I think these are all just a little bit more desaturated than they look in the pan. So now I'm just like buffing the shade inward and making it like our transition shade. I think that's gonna be fine because I don't think there's really a good transition shade for this. And honestly, I don't think that I need it. This one is skipping like just a little bit, probably across the eye cream that I put on. I did put it on hours ago, but it has like a stickier base to it. And I do notice that some of these shadows tend to skip across this eye cream. I'm gonna bring that shimmer pretty high, so I don't know like how well I need to blend in this area. I don't think I need to do it much. I think it's gonna kind of take care of itself. I do want to bring this out like a little bit farther. Again, I'm gonna clean it up, so I really don't care if it's like messy at the current moment. I think this eye cream is kind of making this shade skip a little bit, like if you can kind of see it like in the inner corner. Of course, my little creases do that too. I'm gonna start with my finger on this shade and get as close to the inner corner as I can. Yeah, I'm so glad that I grabbed this one because it's so much more impactful because of that base. Like barely took anything off my finger. Then the other one, I'm just going to spray my brush to pick this up, bring it in the inner corner. Again, I'm bringing this pretty high. I can see it with my eyes open. I still think that green shade did not buff out as well as I had hoped, but I think that's fine. I'm just going to marry these 2 shades together and bring that green even farther out. I think that's gonna look good, like super simple green look, but I'm really enjoying greens right now. I used to hate greens and now I'm like, I love them. I don't know what it is. And honestly, the deeper the green, the better. But just pairing greens for kind of a monochromatic look all on their own, gorgeous. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish this green was darker. It's more like a true green, but I wish it was a little bit deeper, a little bit more murky almost. I mean, that would be so pretty. But this palette is just kind of on the lighter side, which I think is fine for what its intention is. A spring palette. Well, you have a bathroom right there. You can start on your own and then I can help you.
Okay. I'll go put my own.
Right there. Just leave the door open. Call me.
Wait, there's a bathroom right here.
No, baby. The one in the hallway. Okay, so I went and finished. I put on some lashes. I like the eye look. I think it's really flattering just with that one matte shade. Now I want to take something a little bit different. I think I'm going to do this Blossom shade on the lower lash line. I don't know how this is going to look, but I'm willing to try to give it a shot. I don't want it to look terribly monochromatic, I guess. I think that's pretty. Again, I take it about 3/4 of the way. I do not like bringing it all the way in or dragging it extremely low on my eye shape. I guess I should say with my eye shape. I just buff it into the front and kind of lay it heavier on the back end, the outer part. I'm gonna take a green shade though in the waterline. This is the Supernova Multi-Chrome Gel Liner in Rhea, R-H-E-A. It's just a multi-chrome green that basically matches the green shimmer that I use. I am going to go into the inner corner with the other green, the one I did not use, the one that doesn't have quite as strong of a base. It's more of a glittery shade. That's pretty. I should say it's like sparkly shade. It's definitely more of a sparkly shade. It's not like chunky glitters or anything. I'm again gonna take my e.l.f. Lash Extender Mascara for the lower lash line. 1, because it's my favorite, and then 2, it never smudges on me. At this point, I've done like countless looks with this mascara on the lower lash line. I've even like laid down and taken a nap with this mascara on my lower lash line, and it genuinely never smudges. So it's my favorite. It'll probably be forever my favorite. The only thing is I can see this green shade that skipped on this side a little bit more than I would have liked. All right, done with the eyes, you guys. Let's go into the blush palette again. I'm dying to try this shade. I told you guys yesterday, I just want to get this hot pink to my cheeks. It's such a like highlighter formula that not a lot picks up on the brush. You really have to dig in pretty hard to get pigment. And yesterday it was like starting to fade a little bit unevenly, and I didn't like love the way it was looking. I think I kind of went in with like a fluffier brush, and I may not have like laid it super evenly. So this time I kind of want to, what's going on right there? I kind of want to just drag it across my cheeks to get an even application. What is this? Are you not laying in like one spot on purpose? What is that void on my face? What the fuckity fuck is that? Yeah, this one's really punchy though. This one emphasizes a lot of the texture on my cheeks because of that like gold hue, I think. Like there's definitely some gold pigmentation in this. Oh, I look like a full-on clowny clown. Okay. This one is a little bit intense, so I don't really think it looked great with this look. I thought it was going to. I didn't bring enough like orange in. Like this lower lash line wasn't enough to like tie in the orange blush. Anyway, you guys, let's talk final thoughts on the palette. So I told you guys it retails for $78. And that's a pretty high price point. I think even for Unearthly, most of their palettes have been like $60 or $65. I want to say this is the most expensive palette that I've seen on their site. The packaging is always A+, top tier. Their boxes that it comes in is always top tier. I think that this is meant to be a lighter color story though. Like even though I was able to get depth with the green shade, it doesn't start out like intensely deep. I was building and building and building. I like the color story. I think it's great for like a spring look. I definitely think you can do a lot of different things with this palette. I don't know that I love this eye look, you know? I would say without like setting my eyes, the longevity, especially yesterday with that kind of neutral look that I did, it didn't last super long on me. I feel like I have this in my collection though. You know, this wasn't something that I needed, but if you don't have colors like this in your collection, I think that it offers like a good variety in terms of like a spring look. Adding some neutrals in there. None of these shimmers are mind-blowing. In some palettes, even though they're a little bit more expensive, there's usually like 1 or 2 shimmers that really stand out in my mind as shades that I would want to reach for. Like go back and grab that palette specifically for those shimmer shades. I don't feel like that with any of these. So for me, it's a little bit of a higher price point for that reason. However, I want to give it to the blush palette because I love the range here. I love a shimmery blush. Most of her blushes tend to be like basically this really smooth highlighter formula. These do have sparkles in them though. They're not just sheen because they have different colored pigments, like highlighting pigments. These really do have like sparkle. But I think this adds something to my collection, which makes that for me a little bit more unique. My perspective is a little bit different because I don't have some of these colors and I like all of these too. I think some of them are very, very fun, especially for spring. And I could see myself thinking, oh, you know what? That blush palette has that purple shade. I'm gonna go in and grab that purple shade. So those are my final thoughts, you guys. This is day 3, the final green look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would love to hear your comments in the comments below, essentially. I'd love to hear whether or not you're interested in picking up this palette, whether you've already placed an order for it, etc, etc. You guys, I am out of here, and I hope to catch y'all in my next video. Bye guys.